Okay, we're going to pick up here with the first examples that we're going to work in section 2.2. Let P be the ordered pair that's given. It's a point on the unit circle, the circle that corresponds to T, angle T. Find the exact values of the 6 trig functions. So before I start, off to the side, I'm going to write my definitions down just so that they're available. Okay, so we'll have that as a reference while we're working. And our first trig function we're going to start with is our, whoops. Okay, so in our ordered pair, this is our x value, this is our y value. So for sine of t, by definition, is the y value. So what's the sine of t going to be equal to? 1/2. Great. Okay, what about the cosine of t? Square root of 3 over 2. Because the cosine of t is equal to the x value, and our x value is the square root of 3 over 2. Now, tangent of t is going to be the y over the x, so it's 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2. Okay, which here, if we were to simplify this, we multiply by the reciprocal, which is 2 over square root of 3, 2 over square root of 3. Now, everything on the bottom, of course, is going to simplify and cancel out. This 2 will cancel with this 2, and we're left with 1 over the square root of 3, which we want to always rationalize. So we don't want to leave radicals in the denominator, so this is an extra algebra step. So multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3, which would give us the square root of 3 over 3. Go back and circle our answers, box in our answers, I mean. Alright, that's the first 3. Now let's do, which one is next? Cosecant of t is 1 over the y value, or it's the reciprocal of this. So what is the reciprocal of this value? 1 over 2. The reciprocal is just 2 over 1, or just 2. Good. Let's do secant of t. Secant of t is 1 over the x value, so it's 1 over this, but then we would have to do some work to rationalize it. Or we can come over here and just do the reciprocal, which is 2 over the square root of 3. Now, what do we not like about that answer? It's not rationalized, so we need to do some algebra to clean it up. And that would give us 2 square root of 3 over 3. Okay, and our last one is going to be cotangent of t, which would be our y over our x, or this was our answer the first time before we didn't rationalize it. What if we did the reciprocal of this? We would just get square root of 3 over 1, which is just square root of 3. Now, I could also just go ahead and divide those out and do it the long way. And you know what? I'm just going to take the time and do that. Let me see if I can squeeze one in. This is my x value divided by my y value using this definition here. My x divided by y. To simplify, I'm going to multiply by 2 over 1. Multiply by 2 over 1. We can see all of this cancels. This 2 cancels with this 2, and we're just left with the square root of 3 over 1, which is the square root of 3. So you can see how sometimes we'll use one format's easier to work with than the other. You'll get better at that as you go. Okay, let's practice with the evaluation of this now. So we have the sine of 11 pi over 2. Now we can use our unit circle to answer this now that we've fought through that. Look on your unit circle and tell me if you see 11 pi over 2. Okay, we do not. So what's that mean? We need to find coterminal. And since it's radian, we have two options really. I can either use my 180 over pi and turn it into degrees and then subtract out 360 if I prefer to use degrees. If I'm not too intimidated with fractions, I can do 11 pi over 2 and subtract out, what? 2 pi. So let's just go ahead and do that. Because 11 pi over 2 was not on my unit circle, I needed to find coterminal, and I subtracted out 2 pi. 7 pi over 2 is the result. it is not on there as well. So basically we need to take another revolution out. So we're going to go find coterminal to this again. Okay, so it looks like 3 pi over 2. We check our unit circle and we finally have one. So basically 11 pi over 2 was just one time around, a second time around, all the way back around. So it's kind of like this. Went around 2 pi, and around 2 pi again, and then it ended up here. So that's what 11 pi over 2 actually is. But we can use the coterminal value because we know they have the same initial and same terminal. So basically we're going to use the sine of 3 pi over 2. Now, by our trig definition, what is the sine of theta equal to? Sine of theta is equal to the y value, right? So what is the y value? Here's 3 pi over 2. What's the y value? Negative 1. So we would say negative 1. Good job. Okay, our next example is tangent of 6 pi. Is 6 pi on our unit circle? Nope. But what if we go ahead and subtract out 2 pi? That's take out one revolution. This one's going to be easy. What's that give us? 4 pi. That's not enough. 4 pi is not on our unit circle, so I take out another revolution and I get 2 pi. So it's basically right here. It's like we went all the way around, went all the way around, went all the way around. So it's asking us information about our coordinates at that. So what is the tangent of theta? Definition. Tangent of theta is going to be what? Y over x. What is the y value? Remember, this is your x value, this is your y value. So what's the y value? 0. Your x value is 1. And what does 0 over 1 simplify to? 0. So we simply say the tangent of 6 pi is equal to 0. Okay, here's our next examples. I want you to pause this video and write these down. Look at your unit circle, and also look at your, let me get back, your definitions of your trig functions, and see if you can answer these and then unpause it and check your answers. Cosine of 210 is going to be, you come to 210, the x value is going to be negative square root of 3 over 2. So that's just negative square root of 3 over 2. Look on your unit circle, go to the x value at that. Alright, the sine of negative 60. So first of all, I go backwards 60 degrees because remember that angle is negative. Backwards 60 degrees would put me at 300. So what is the sine value here? Sine of theta is equal to y. Whoops, covered it up. Sine of theta is equal to y, so we would get negative square root of 3 over 2. So remember, if you go in a negative angle, we go in the reverse direction. Then we come here. This is my x value, this is my y value, and sine of theta is equal to y. Alright, tangent of 5 pi over 3. 5 pi over 3 is right here. It's that same coordinate, but we want to do our y value over our x value, so we're going to calculate that algebraic. Okay, that's going to be our y over x. Now let's do some algebra to it and multiply by the reciprocal and simplify. So that just means everything cancels here. These 2's cancel and we get negative square root of 3 over 1, which is just negative square root of 3. Good. Okay, sine of 3 pi. 3 pi is clearly not on here, so find coterminal. Okay, so that's just going to be sine of pi. So here's pi over here. We're going to look at these ordered pairs, and what's the sine value? The sine of theta equals y, so the y value there is just going to be 0. And our last one is go in a negative direction 270 degrees. That puts me here right on working with this ordered pair. So what's the cosine value? X, which is 0. Okay,